On Secretary of State Marco Rubio's whirlwind tour of Latin America, a potentially unprecedented offer from the president of El Salvador.
He has agreed to accept for deportation any illegal alien in the United States who is a criminal from any nationality, be they MS-13 or Tren de Aragua, and house them in his jails.
President Nayib Bukele revealing more in a post on X, offering the U.S., quote, the opportunity to outsource part of its prison system in exchange for a fee. And it's not just for people who are in the U.S. illegally.
He has offered to house in his jails dangerous American criminals in custody in our country, including those of U.S. citizenship and legal residence. No country's ever made an offer of friendship such as this.
But that offer, Biden called prison conditions in the country harsh and life-threatening. But President Trump tonight doubling down on his willingness to consider the offer.
It's no different than a prison system, except it would be a lot less expensive, and it would be a great deterrent. Send them to other countries.
This Trump, bro. Like I say, I'm not surprised, but it's like the audacity of the 34-time convicted felon. Oh, it was all a hoax. You know what I'm saying? Like, if the justice system could be so up and corrupt towards Trump, why don't we think about that toward the people that's locked up now? Oh, those people are murderers. Those people are this, that, and the third. I just can't. I can't with you people, man. You know what I'm saying? 50% of the murders unsolved in this country. You know what I'm saying? I bet you'll say, it's because ain't talking. Ain't telling the police what's going on in the streets. All right, man. And white people is, man. Like, and what's so sad about it is that white people love thug culture, thug behavior. Because that's what you elected. That's what you elected, man. At the end of the day, you elected a thug-in-chief, like Jasmine Crockett said, man. Y'all elected a thug-in-chief, and y'all cool with that. Y'all cool with that. Long as it wasn't man. Lord forbid we had the promiscuity of supposed Kamala Harris, or the incompetency of supposed Kamala Harris. Yeah, we cool with all that when Trump do it. You know what I'm saying? The incompetency. The man really believes that he can control Greenland whenever he wants. He could just make another state whenever he wants to. He can send Americans in jail in another country whenever he wants to.
What President Trump said yesterday is an acknowledgement of the following. Gaza has been severely damaged. If you look at the aerial imagery, you see what's happening. The billions of dollars that are going to be required for reconstruction are enormous. Some areas have been rendered unlivable now and for the foreseeable future. And so what President Trump announced yesterday is the offer, the willingness of the United States to become responsible for the reconstruction of that area. And while you are rebuilding, while you're clearing debris, by the way, there are unexploded munitions. There are all kinds of Hamas weaponry still buried underground. For people to be able to live in a place safely, all of that has to be removed. It's an enormous undertaking. And the only thing President Trump has done very generously, in my view, is offer the United States willingness to step in, clear the debris, clean the place up from all the destruction that's on the ground, clean it up of all these unexploded munitions. And in the meantime, the people living there will not be able, the people who call that home will not be able to live there while you have crews coming in and removing debris, while you have munitions being removed, etc.
And all this spinning they doing to try to make Trump's words more palatable to the American people, but they gonna get dizzy as hell. Trump wouldn't use words like take over, use words like turn over, use words like control, if he wanted to just help Gaza. But again, this is not even a America first problem, is it? And in a bold move, Trump decides to impose sanctions on the International Criminal Court over investigations of Israel. But Israel is not alone, are they?
So did y'all know that the U.S. was found guilty for...
This is complete arrogance. Nothing will be done to hold Israel or Trump accountable until we have people competent enough in these UNs, in these international courts, to hold America accountable for the that they do and they allow. Look at this. This is 70% of their land destroyed. So what? America can rebuild some resorts on the Gaza Strip? No, I wasn't lying, man. Trump really on that, man. And the sad part about it is that he thinks he's completely justified. And what's even crazier is that people justify this every day, even though their own privacy is being violated in the process. But as long as we got rid of that DEI, right? But I think this time right now really compares to a time back in the day where corruption was at an all-time high, and man, those robber barons got us for everything we was worth.
The developing tech space is drawing parallels in the minds of some to the Gilded Age. That term, Gilded Age, coined by Mark Twain in a very famous novel. It refers to a period of time from the late 19th to early 20th century where the United States saw, among other things, rapid industrialization, economic growth, and those things intertwined with political corruption and wealth inequality. H.W. Brands joins me now. He is a historian and author of several books, including a great one, American Colossus, The Triumph of Capitalism, 1865 to 1900. Bill, it's great to see you. Thanks for joining us. Is this a second Gilded Age in American history?
It is a second Gilded Age. There are a lot of similarities. So there's rapidly changing technology. There's a growth in wealth inequality and the emergence of a class of extremely rich people. There are some differences, though, and the differences reflect a couple of things. One is that the government of the United States is very much larger today than it was back then. So there was very much less interest on the part of the oligarchs of the day to lobby government. They weren't looking for government contracts the way the oligarchs today are. And political influence was concentrated in Congress then rather than in the executive. So there was nothing like what we saw on the inauguration day, where there are several of the wealthiest men in America lined up right behind the president while he's taking his inaugural oath. There was nothing like that. If anything, they would have focused their efforts on the Senate, especially, and the House of Representatives.
I want to play you.
Well, if this Gilded Age is going to be anything like the last Gilded Age, massive corruption and wealth gap disparities are just going to happen at a rate that we're not going to even imagine. And the racial tensions, oh man. See, not only did this time create tycoons such as Andrew Carnegie, John D. Rockefeller, Vanderbilt, J.P. Morgan, but there was also something coinciding with this time that a lot of people try to erase over and forget. And that was the Great Nadir, or the Nadir of Race Relations, or what we know it here in America as the beginning of the Jim Crow South. Though black codes go back as early as 1724 with the Christian black codes, they became very influential during the time right after Reconstruction, all the way up until the 1940s. Though we'll never truly know how many lynchings happened in that beginning of the Gilded Age and Jim Crow era, we do know that the worst was yet to come. And probably the worst was actually during progressive era politics. And that's why I'll forever say that Woodrow Wilson is still probably one of the worst presidents we ever had. Even worse than Reagan or Nixon or Trump. And today it's not much different. Right now, we have Trump, Vance, and Musk all agreeing that racism is okay as long as you get our Pacific agenda accomplished.